Welcome back to Cinema Corner. I'm Blake, and I'm here with my co-hosts, Josh and Alex.
And today we are doing Cinematas Volume 14. I believe it's been about a month, if not more. Feels like forever ago. But last time, Blake gave me Bugonia. I gave Josh Manchester by the Sea, and Josh gave Blake Inside Man. Those were the last one's tasks. We're going to give the reviews for all those movies. Who wants to go first? I'll just go first. Oh,
No, yeah, I was going to say Alex thoughts.
okay.
I was going to say I can go first, but
Really? Go ahead then.
Breaking tradition. Okay, whatever.
Go ahead.
Guess we just
yeah,
don't have anything anymore these days.
All right, so I had Inside Man. Josh gave me this movie. This came out in like '05 or '06, and you can feel it by just the intro alone. You can feel it right in the opening, just the credits of it. You're like, yep, this is early 2000s for sure. Essentially, this entire movie takes place of a bank robbery, quote unquote, counts robbery, I suppose. The two main detectives who are kind of on the case, and also like the hostage negotiators, are Denzel Washington's Frazier and that actor who I can't remember his name, Will or Bill. And basically the entire thing is just there's a bank robbery going on of these people who came in as in like full painter uniforms and made all the hostages put on painter uniforms. And the entire time you're kind of going in between what's going on in the bank and what the detectives are doing. And then at random times it cuts to an interrogation of the two detectives interrogating people who you see as hostages in the bank. So you know eventually at least some of them will get out of it as they're kind of being interrogated for what happened. And yeah, literally the entire movie, it doesn't end until like basically when the robbery ends. So the entire time you're just seeing that the robbers are not trying to steal any of the money. They're trying to get into a specific safety deposit box. And we eventually learned that the owner of all of the banks and like the CEO of the banks, he wants it's his box and he wants whatever is inside of it very bad, that he hires an outside person. Jodie Foster, Miss White is her character's name, hires her to be like, hey, I heard you're good at like sketchy things. There's a box in there. I need to make sure nobody knows what's inside of it. Not even you. Just get me this box. That's all that I care about with this robbery going on. And throughout the course of the little like stupid negotiating things happen where they're like, oh, we want a full plane. Denzel Washington's character is like, hey, he's just trying to stall us. They're not actually trying to like get out of here. Something's going on. These bank robbers are way smarter. And pretty much the robbery goes on the whole time of just negotiations until the point where Denzel just walks into the bank like, hey, what's going on here? Like, clearly you're way too smart. Something, you're not actually trying to get out of here. And they just like basically kick him out of the bank. And that's when you learn, as all good movies have the shocking twist, that the owner of the bank got all of his money from working with the Nazis. Because what movie doesn't have that as the twist? He got his money. He's a Jewish man who sold out other Jewish people, and somehow in return the Nazis gave him a bunch of diamonds, and there's like paperwork in there that proves that he worked with the Nazis, so he doesn't want the public or anybody to know, which was very confusing on why the Nazis are paying this guy to sell out Jewish people when he's a Jewish person himself. Also, they're paying him with diamonds, like they had diamonds like that they're throwing around, whatever. And so yeah, eventually the hostages all just get released. Everybody just runs out in their little painter's mask, so the cops don't know if everybody here's hostage, if some of them are people who were part of the robbery. So then they like make all the people get down, and that's kind of when like the interrogation stuff must have happened. They don't really like actually skip to that point. All the interrogation stuff kind of just happened throughout the movie. The cops all run in there and realize that the guns were fake. All of the money is still in the vault. They can't tell that like that security box was opened for the stuff to be taken out and then put back in. So as far as they can tell, they're like, there wasn't actually a robbery here. All the money's here. Nobody was injured. And so that's when the Denzel's character, Frazier, basically was just told by the higher ups, like, hey, nobody's putting pressure on us to solve this because nothing actually happened. So just act like this didn't happen. We're all just going to move forward, I guess. And Denzel's like, what do you mean? Like, that's what? And he's like, yeah, nothing happened. We're fine. And so then Denzel and his partner go back in the bank one more time. And then you see a guy walk by, bump into Denzel. And Denzel's like, oh, sorry, man. The guy's like, whatever, and just keeps walking. And then the guy goes out, and then it shows a quick flashback that was the main robber who, during the robbery, they made a hidden storage area for him to camp out in for a week while all of it's died out. And then he just walked out of the bank with all the diamonds, and he dropped one into Denzel's coat pocket, who he finds at the end of the movie. And that's pretty much it. It was a very anticlimactic ending of just like nothing really happened with the robbery. And like I said, all the cops and stuff were just like, hey, nobody's putting pressure on us to solve this because technically nobody knows anything was actually stolen, because this rich CEO isn't going to tell people like, hey, they robbed my safety security box, because he got all of his diamonds in there from Nazis. So that's pretty much just how the movie ends. Denzel's character gets named a first detective, and he's given a diamond by the robber. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Like I said, it wasn't anything too special. The robbery wasn't very spectacular. It was kind of just like somewhat interesting, I guess, for a little bit of Denzel figuring out like, hey, something bigger is going on here. Like, they're not actually trying to do anything. They're just stalling us, giving us like weird demands. So yeah, I mean, the acting was solid for the most part. Nothing spectacular. So I would say this movie is like a 5.5 out of 10. It wasn't, it definitely isn't up there as like one of the best heist type movies of all time.
Don't remember the Nazi twist.
Really? I have a feeling that's the only reason you gave it to Blake.
I saw it when I was 10, man. So
somehow even worse. Jeez. Okay.
All right. Well, since Alex, I'm going to go first. I guess he's going last. My movie was Manchester by the Sea, which Alex gave me. The only thing I knew going into this movie was the one scene that just seems to always be shown when this movie's talked about, of him stealing the gun from the cop and almost shooting himself. So I knew that this movie is clearly a depressing movie, and that's just kind of like, I always wanted to see this movie, but when you know a movie's going to be sad, you got to be in the mood for it and just never giving it a chance. But basically, I'll kind of give a quick summary of it. This movie is about basically two brothers, and they're kind of two different stories of trauma, death, all this, just any bad thing that can happen to them happened kind of to these two brothers of Lee and Joe. Joe Chandler's played by the guy that is going to be in the Green Lantern show. I think his name is Kyle Chandler, funny enough. Yeah. And of course, Lee's played by Casey Affleck, which he won an Oscar for this movie of. I will say this, my take from seeing this movie, I don't really get why he won an Oscar for this movie. Was he good? Sure. But he's just kind of like one of those things of a white actor is just playing an angry white man. And that was kind of it. Was he good? Yes. But there's not a single scene in this movie at all that I would even, if I even saw it back in the day when it came out in 2016, I would not leave the theater thinking he should be in the Oscar conversation. He was just good. So I think it's a little strange of why he won one for this. But essentially kind of the summary, like I said, is about just shitty things happen to the two brothers. You kind of quickly learn that Joe, the brother, is diagnosed with a heart issue. And so it kind of goes back and forth with present day and past day about telling kind of this brotherly bond between Lee and Joe. And then obviously the present day is Joe passed away because of this heart condition. And then throughout the film, there's clearly some past thing that is not related to Joe dying, of why is Lee so damn depressed. He's a very angry, depressed man. Throughout many scenes, it shows this. He's kind of also an alcoholic in some scenes, but some scenes he's not. And you kind of learn that he was trying to recover from that and not be such an alcoholic. And then you learn that some really fucked up shit happened to his kids, and the present day doesn't have his kids around. So you learn that his kids died in a fire to his house that he potentially was responsible for because he set the fireplace up and walked to the store to get some alcohol. And when he came back, the house was on fire. So that kind of gets dropped in. There's just a lot of trauma that just goes on. His wife leaves him. You learn at early on in the movie, he references his ex-wife when it comes to his brother dying, of saying he needs to call people he knows about his brother's death because they all knew it was going to happen. So he loses kind of his brother, which is really kind of a father figure to him. But even his brother goes through shit because his ex-wife, but at the time was his wife, is like a psychopath that they always claim. Like, they talk really bad about her. She has only one scene early in the movie where she's like half nude, just passed out on the couch, and she's trying to hide the kids away from her. So these two brothers are just constantly going through it. And that's kind of the overall theme of this movie. Is it tries to do a lot of realistic depictions of real world things that can just happen to regular people, and in a setting with characters that nobody's perfect at all. Every character has flaws. I think that's a nice strength of this film, is a lot of the characters, there's plenty to dislike about them and like about them. I mean, even the main the brother's son, which Lee ends up actually taking and being his guardian, Patrick, he's literally just a Boston kid fuckboy, and you hate that about him, but you also like the fact that he's kind of funny and also just will match that energy of Lee, because he's a fucking just a kid in high school that's been through shit of having only a single dad parenting him, and an uncle who's obviously been absent because he lost his kids and is just dealing with that trauma. So I think that's what's really the big strength of this film, and maybe people in 2016 were just really feeling this film, and that's maybe why it won 2 Oscars. Maybe I just been, yeah, it did. It won for best screenplay, for like original screenplay, and then he won best actor, obviously. So I just, maybe they're just feeling it. Maybe I just have been on a good run of watching good movies, so I wasn't as impressed with this film. And I think really my final kind of con I could say of why I wasn't really messing with it too much was it was a really, really beautifully shot. It did a lot of long tier cinematic shots for each scene. So, you know, sometimes that was cool. Sometimes it would take away from the moment and wouldn't allow these characters to deal with the real traumatic shit that's happening to them. And then you wouldn't kind of get that fulfilling feeling from the audience that you're kind of either witnessing growth from the characters, or you're witnessing them just deal with this bullshit that's happening to them. Instead, it would kind of happen and you get like a 1 to 2 minute scene of like, oh, you think this is a moment where these characters are going to address the craziness that happened to them. And then it kind of quickly pans away from it. And then later in the movie, you get like a 3-minute shot of him driving. And it's like, okay, so you gave us time for these cool shots, but you won't give us time for longer scenes for characters to sit in the awkwardness and awfulness of what's happening to them. I think that would have made the film way better for me if that happened, but they didn't give me that. So for me, and also kind of how it ends, it kind of just is one of those films that ends a little bit abruptly. Not too many things are answered, or it's a little bit of an open ending kind film. So I left me at a 6.5 out of 10. I was curious about other ratings just to see. It looks like this audience score wise, like on Rotten Tomatoes, IMDb, people are kind of closer to me. It's like a 7.8 out of 10, but critics fucking love this film. It has a 96% on Rotten Tomatoes. So yeah, I guess people were just loving it back in the day or something. But yeah, it was a 6.5, still solid.
Okay.
The Academy loves a drama, bro. They just want people as sad as you can. You win an award.
Yeah.
Honestly, that is the goal. It's either that or biopics, as of late. You know.
Yeah, it legit is just they just give it to whoever played the saddest. Look at Jesse Buckley and Hamnet. Whoever can just yell, get upset, and do the most heartbreaking, in quotes, thing, they just say that's great acting.
Yeah. Well, this is a new thing for me because I usually go first, but now that I know, I technically have the best rating. So my movie was Bugonia. Blake gave this to me. I believe you had seen this recently when we were up there in Illinois, and you had like talked about you actually kind of liking this movie. And so I was like, okay, let's watch it. This stars Emma Stone and it's
Jesse Plemons.
Jesse Plemons, yes, because he's in like a bunch of the A24 films. Um, and basically, this is a story of two cousins. One is Teddy.
I will say, Josh, before he goes into it, if you have any interest in ever watching this movie, you should not listen to the review.
All right. Speakers
I'll just say
off.
that. Okay. Okay, so where was I at? Okay, so this story is about two cousins, Teddy and Don. Teddy is Jesse Plemons' character, and Don is the other actor. I forgot his name. I had it in my head.
I mean, he's making his debut.
This is his debut, but he did it like amazing. That's one of the big positive is the acting. Emma Stone, insane. Jesse Plemons, you believe that he was like deep in the shit with like this conspiracy theories, and then Don is like this like teetering on whether or not he's gonna like let her go and not. You clearly see that he doesn't fully believe in what Teddy is saying, but he also loves Teddy a lot because he is his like only family member left, and so he's like he's conflicted, and that's why I feel like the actor who played Don did amazingly, because you feel the conflict in him the entire movie. He feels bad about the certain things that Teddy does to Emma Stone's character. I believe it's Michelle, if I'm not mistaken. They don't really say her name. She just called it like an alien and like a bunch of slurs the entire time. But yeah, she's basically the CEO of this company that basically is like a tech company. I mean, that's pretty much sums it up. They experiment stuff. It's very like, speak about the industry and what it does, and it affects the environment and all that. And that's kind of where the conspiracy starts with Teddy and him and the bees and stuff. Basically, he thinks that she's an alien. That's like the big thing in the movie. And of course, Don is then trying to believe Teddy this entire time, and we are led to believe for most of the movie as well that she is not an alien, because you would think this is something that's so absurd. Like why would he like what even makes someone an alien? And he starts to like specify, oh, it's like their like the hair density and like there's like narrow feet or whatever. And so he's like, okay. And they abduct her, like, I don't know, felt like 15 minutes into the movie after we kind of established the two different worlds. She's obviously come up and she's having the time of her life, running a company. She goes home to this big, luxurious house. And then there's Teddy and Don, who have clearly been through a bunch of shit. And then you see the funny attempt at them trying to abduct her. And that was just... That was insane. Don goes down right off the bat. I was like, oh my God. So Teddy's just chasing her throughout the entire yard. And they finally get her. And they have her in the basement for, I think it was like 4 days, until like the lunar eclipse.
Right.
Yeah. And I was like, where is this going? Because I mean, I was invested. But then all of a sudden, every time they would go down there in the basement, I was just locked in. It was like, what are they going to do now? And it's like, first it was like, you have to record your testimony. And then it's, day 2 was like different. I can't remember what it was. Oh, I think it was just like a conversation between them where he gets pissed and he like, I think he slaps her, and then he like starts to have a tantrum in his car. Day 3 is when he straps her to like the thing and just starts to like basically electrocute her, and she doesn't die. So then you're kind of like, is she? But then like it pulls you back into it to where she's like, no, she's clearly not an alien. Basically, I'm gonna sum it up here. Cop shows up, things get tense. It's a childhood trauma thing for Teddy, but he kind of shrugs it off. Don is then tasked to keep her down there while Teddy distracts the cop, and he goes out to like show him the bees. And that's when the entire time Emma Stone's character, I believe is Michelle, and she's like kind of like pleading to Don, like, hey, you know this is fucking crazy, right? Like, you can. I started to believe her because I'm like, okay, you've been here, you're like probably malnourished already. You had the one bowl of spaghetti, that's all you've had. It's like, okay, yeah. And then the twist. Dawn is like, okay, yeah, only if you take me with you. And then she's like, yeah. He then proceeds to himself in the face. I was so fucking stunned. I was like, oh, okay. And then, like, the effect was brilliant. I was just shocked as much as she was. She said, like, what the fuck just happened? And then, obviously, a fight, like, the cop hears it, and, you know, then Teddy is forced to kill him with bees, which is insane. And then it was just like a fucking insane trip all the way until like the very end of the movie, where she then discovers, or Teddy goes back down there. He almost wants to kill her because he sees Teddy on the ground, and then she tells him that the cure for his mom is in the back of her car. It's antifreeze, but it's not really antifreeze. He then believes her, takes it, goes to like the hospital spot where she's like being held at, and injects antifreeze into her like little bloodstream thing, and she dies, obviously. And then Teddy is just having a breakdown because, I mean, he obviously is like, oh, she fucking tricked me. Meanwhile, she breaks into like the little area in the basement where it's kind of like locked off, and she finds that she's not the first one. That's fucking crazy. Like, okay, I was led to believe she was the very first one. Not the case. That's even crazier. And you see people in jars and their body parts. It was some crazy ass shit. You see like the little diagram of what the ship, or what he thinks the ship looks like. And she's just looking at this like, what the fuck is going on here? And then I am led to believe this entire time that she starts to make things up to like kind of get out of it. Well, then she convinces him that, you know, okay, let's go. She tells him like the whole backstory to what these aliens are or whatnot. He like eats it up, right? They go to the work spot. They like walk through security, and she's clearly like, you know, hobbling, but everyone kind of just shrugs it off. She tells him that the way to like get there is by punching in a code on a calculator. And he gets into like the little closet area, and then next thing you know, she says go, or ready, set, go, or whatever, and then he fucking blows up, and you see his fucking head on the ground. Like, what the fuck is going on? And then she passes out because of the explosion. She's like, what the hell's going on? And ambulances show up. You're led to believe, I was led to believe that the movie was almost over, because she was obviously being like, okay, she's not an alien, she's being like hauled in the fucking ambulance away. No, she gets up, leaves, runs out of the ambulance, goes back into like the closet area, and she actually gets beamed up. What the hell is this movie? I didn't know what the fuck was going on, but then she starts speaking their alien languages, and the movie ends with her enacting her plan and just killing everyone. Wow, what a fucking ending! That was insane. So yeah, that was the plot of the movie. And I mean, obviously, other than like the positives of the acting, as I said, the way it was shot, dude, it had some style to it. I liked like the color grading. I liked the way it was shot. I don't know if it was the same for you in the movie theater. It also depends on what screen you watched it on, but on my TV, it had like that IMAX kind of formatting, like kind of like the box format here. So yeah, so everything felt very like tall. I was like, oh, this is dope, and I'm sure this was a stylistic choice by the director, which I know he did like Poor Things, I think, as well. He's done a bunch of collaborations with her.
Kinds of Kindness with her.
Yeah, but from what I can tell, this is his best one with her. I think Josh had shitted on one of the other ones. I can't remember which one.
Poor Things. He saw Poor Things and he did not like it at all.
But no, this one was fucking good. I was locked in, and I was like, oh shit, so Teddy was right the entire time. That's crazy. Wow. Rest in peace, Teddy. But yeah, I just rating, man, this is a 9.3 for me. This was a fucking good movie.
Hey, bro, that's pretty close to what I said.
This is a good fucking movie. They acted their asses off, and now it's like I can't remember what Oscar it was up for, but I'm like it was deserving of at least a nomination, and I'm glad that it actually got its due because this was a good one, genuinely.
The real thing is the fact that Jesse Plemons didn't get nominated is insane.
Yeah, that was. I mean,
I think that's insane. He definitely should have been nominated.
Yeah, after watching the movie, I completely concur on that. That is just insane that he did not get a nomination. That was, I mean, I've only seen him in a few other things, but this by far is to me was his best performance. He was just insane. He was playing that really well, like the whole like conspiracy theorist and breaking down and everything. I'm like, okay, this feels like an Oscar kind of performance right now, and he didn't even get a nomination, which is kind of crazy. But yeah,
it is.
That is that was kind of wild. But anyways, that is the review for Bugonia. So yeah,
how's it going?
hey.
Thanks for the reminder, Blake, because Emma Stone's out of her little probation period, and I do want to see that movie.
Yeah, I remember you saying that she was on her Urana.
After watching it, Josh, you definitely should.
Yeah, I'm getting vibes that if our two closest friends are saying they really liked it, I'd like to too.
Yeah. Anyways, time to task for the next sets. I have Blake this time. Now, I'm really hoping that you haven't seen it because I know you like this actor. So there's a good chance you've already seen it, but I'm hoping you haven't. Have you seen Sing Sing with Coleman Domingo?
I have.
Fuck.
Yep. It's actually on my list to possibly give somebody.
Okay. Okay. Well, that eliminates that one from the list.
That was actually one of the three I was thinking about giving Josh this time around.
Oh, wow. Okay. Do I try you with this one then? Okay. Let's go a different route. Have you seen Sound of Metal?
Yes. We've gone through this before. There's been a video where someone tried to give it to somebody.
That was me.
Damn it.
Yeah. I think Josh tried to give me this movie.
Well,
I tried to give it to you after you saw, what's the movie you really like? That's the drumming and all.
Whiplash,
yeah. So I was curious about the comparison between those two.
man. Okay, let me try this. Hopefully you haven't seen this one. Have you seen If Beale Street Could Talk?
I don't even know what that is, so
Okay,
no.
that is directed by Barry Jenkins, and it does have Coleman Domingo in this as well. So I thought this would be a good one.
Interesting.
Yeah. I don't think he's the main lead, but
All right.
he's in the movie for sure.
Josh, I'll give you your movie.
Okay.
Have you seen Red Eye with Rachel McAdams and Cillian Murphy?
No, I have not, but it's literally was added to the list a month ago because I saw those two were in a movie together. I was like, okay.
Yep, that's your movie.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah. All right. Alex.
I don't like how ominous this sounding.
Let's see. Plenty of options for you.
See, I thought the same thing about Blake, and then all of a sudden my list just shrunk.
Have you seen Memento by Christopher Nolan?
That's actually one I've not seen by Christopher Nolan.
There you go. There is your film.
Okay. Memento. I finally get to watch it. I think I started with what would have been his earliest one, probably The Prestige. I mean, I guess technically Batman I think came out first, but Prestige is like his not.
No.
Was it not?
Memento came out first, for sure.
No,
Memento
I mean like and
was his first one.
No,
but no,
you're
Prestige
right.
came out before Batman.
okay, yeah, but yeah, that's where I started the Christopher Nolan journey. So I've seen I think everything up until Tenet. So the only two I've not seen is Memento and Tenet.
Don't think I can assign Tenet to anybody.
Yeah.
I'll assign it to him next time. Don't worry about it. I think that's going to do it for this video. As always, let us know in the comments below if you saw any of the movies we gave reviews on or any of the ones we're about to watch. As always, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you guys in the next one.